Greetings, gang. Okay, I'm here again, and this is the one I've been promising you guys for a while. I finally got everything ready and put together so I can show you what to do here. As the title says, 5 fertilizers to make completely free. And what I will tell you is this, is everything I'm going to show you here is organic, is totally free, and will save you a ton of money because I'll give you this as an example. Okay. I've got 2,100 square feet of garden. If I fed it with Miracle Grow for vegetables, okay, I would have to use about 3.5 or about 5 pounds of Miracle Grow every 2 weeks. A 1.5 pound thing of it is $6. So it cost me somewhere around $20, $25 every 2 weeks to fertilize my gardens. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but if you do the math, it's like $50 worth of fertilizer a month. And first off, I'm not willing to pay that. And second off, what am I doing any good? Granted, I'd be getting food, but I'd be paying more than I would if I bought it at the grocery store. Now, the other thing to think about is, how did all our ancestors fertilize stuff before Miracle Grow or any other chemical plant food existed? Now, I'm not this big organic guy or anything like that. I'm the big cheap guy. How about that? Okay. So what I want to show you here is 5 different fertilizers that you can make, and a lot of them you're going to have to start now because it takes a while to get what you need, or you're not going to be able to get it when you need it. So, now go into the first one. The first one is about as simple as you get. And, I know a lot of you guys live in apartments or live where you can't have a compost pile or anything like that. Doesn't mean you can't get the benefits of compost. And I'm going to show you why. There's a great way to do this with a compost tea, but if you do it at this point of the year, you're going to be all set come spring. So let me show you this real quick. What I've got here, and this is me getting ready for next year, is a 20-gallon bucket. Obviously, as you can see, I got it at Rural King. And I have filled it with yard scraps. Okay, there is dried leaves, which of course you're not going to get in the spring, but all around me is tons of them right now, but you can find yard leaves somewhere. I've got the stalks from Mrs. P's elephant ears in there. I've got grass clippings, I've got weeds, I've got geraniums, everything. I'm just going to cover this and leave this until next spring. Next spring, what I will do is fill this bucket with water and just let it steep like it is, and in a couple of weeks, you will have a very highly nutrient-rich compost tea without ever having a compost pile. And that will do wonders for watering your garden. Okay. Second one. Now, we all know we need to have a biodiverse soil. And one of the things that you really need is microbiology in your soil. Okay? It'll help break down your organic materials, your compost, your leaves, your grass clippings, your manures, whatever it would be. Now, there's something called jadam, and it's a Korean way of doing this. Works really well, and I've kind of put a little twist on it to make it easier, because besides cheap, I like easy. All right? So I'm going to show you this. First thing I've got is 5 potatoes. You can see them steaming here because I have boiled them. And so if I can get this there you go. You can see I've got 5 potatoes in the boiling water. I grew the potatoes, obviously. It doesn't matter the water's dirty. You'll see why, but the first thing I'm going to do is take my potato masher, and I'm just going to mash these potatoes, skin and all. We're not looking at making Thanksgiving dinner here. It doesn't have to be pretty. All right. I just want to get them broke up somewhat. All right. So I get this beautiful looking potato soup. Saying beautiful facetiously, obviously. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll move this over here and flip this around. I have a 5-gallon bucket here. It's about 3/4 full. Doesn't matter, the bucket's dirty, and you're going to see why. It's just got some old grass clippings in it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, if I can get this, 4 teaspoons, or about 1 shot glass, of sea salt and put it in the water. Big deal. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to take all those potatoes I had, water and all, and dump them in the water. And then finally, and of course I left it over there, so I have to go get it. So hang on a second. Okay, back. And finally what I'm going to do is take a big handful here of dirt, okay, preferably from your property somewhere. I got this from where my compost pile was, so I know there's bioorganisms in there. You want to get like a leaf mold or something from your garden, provided it's not just all potting soil or something. You know, it's got to be live soil, but you want to get it from your yard for the simple reason of those microorganisms are already acclimated to your particular environment. So what you're going to do is just leave this for 3 or 4 days after you stir it up. I'm not going to stir it here because then I got to put the camera down. But stir this all together and just leave it for 3 or 4 days, and you'll see it start to foam up. And what that is, that's going to be all the microorganisms in there eating the starches and basically fermenting everything. You will have a extremely microbiology rich soup when you're done in a few days. And then what you'll do is take a quart of it, pour it into a 5-gallon bucket, fill the bucket, dilute it out like that, and just put it all over your garden. You can do it now if you don't get a freeze in the winter, or you can do it in the spring, and you will get all that mycorrhizal fungi and everything like that that's great in your garden that you want to have. That's going to definitely help your roots retain water, gather more water, etc., etc. This will do wonders for your garden. So that's number 2. Okay, on to number 3. Number 3 is going to be your slow release fertilizer that you're going to obviously put down out in your garden maybe once a month or whatever during the growing season, maybe just a couple of times. So, you got a slow release in there. This one, again, you're going to have to start collecting stuff now. Ingredients: dry leaves. Again, can't get those in the spring. Crushed eggshells, okay? And that's probably a couple of dozen eggs right there at least. Coffee grounds, dry, okay? Used coffee grounds, not ones that you had not buying out of store, stuff that you'd throw in the garbage anyway or in your compost pile. And dried banana peel, okay? Now, this has an NPK of about 313, so it's very good in the nitrogen department and very good in the potassium department. Now, of course, before you're going to use any fertilizers, you want to do an NPK test on your soil, because a lot of, at least U.S. soils, because it's so rocky, are high in potassium, so you don't need to add any more. You can have potassium burn. Now, if you don't know what the NPK is, those are the numbers you see on your fertilizer. Say, 10, 10, 10. That's 10% nitrogen, 10% potassium, and 10% phosphorus, and then potassium. Okay. Nitrogen is what you need for green growth. Coffee grounds are very high in nitrogen. Okay. Phosphorus promotes root growth. It hastens your maturity. You'll harvest earlier, but it's crucial for photosynthesis. Okay. And usually you get those things from like rock dust or anything like that, or clays, and that's why a lot of the U.S. soils are good for it. Now, if you've got volcanic soil, I know there's some of you guys in Hawaii, you're going to be really low in your phosphorus contents, and you probably already know that. Okay. Potassium, of course, we all know that bananas are good for potassium. That is dried, crushed banana peels. And you're going to throw your banana peels out anyway. Banana peels take forever to decompose in a compost pile. So better to use them by either putting them in the sun for a couple of days and they'll dry out, or stick them in the oven for about an hour on a low broil, or about a half an hour on a low broil, and they will blacken, and once they're nice and crispy, you can just break them up. So all we're doing for this one, I'll kind of flip it over here so you can see it, is we are going to throw this in a blender. So I'm going to take a bunch of eggshells, I'm going to take a bunch of banana peels, I'm going to take not all this coffee, but a good amount of coffee, and a good amount of leaves. Obviously, I'm doing this outside because otherwise Mrs. P would kill me. Okay, so we'll try this again. This time I'm going to do it a little bit smaller amounts, make it blend up a little easier. We'll try this. Grind up all those leaves real well, and start going. So what I'm eventually making here is a good dry fertilizer that I can use. Obviously, I'm going to need a whole lot more than this. That's why I said you need to start now. So let's go on to numbers 4 and 5. I'm going to say this right now before number 4 and 5. Do not watch this part while you're eating, okay? Fair warning, okay? So there we go. But let me get that set up and I'll be right back. Okay, fertilizer number 4. This one is good if you need to add phosphorus to your soil. This is also good for doing around potatoes, okay? Here's your ingredients. Some sort of shellfish. These are ground up shrimp shells, okay? This time of year, okay, we have cocktail shrimp, we have, I don't know, oysters, crab legs, whatever the hell you have for Christmas. Save the shells, stick them on a cookie sheet in the oven, dry them out, crush them up. So I'm going to use a bunch of shrimp shells, okay? Potato peels. Now, what you want to do with your potato peels is you want to ferment these for a couple of days, about 3 days. Just stick all your tomato peels or potato peels in a jar, fill it with water, and just let it sit for a couple of days. And so you're going to pour the water and a bunch of potato peels in. Okay? That gets you a lot of phosphorus, and that's why this is good. But like everything else, you need nitrogen, urine. Okay? And again, we are going to blend the living crap out of it. Now, this is your liquid fertilizer. This is going to be quickly absorbed. So this is what you want to use in place of your Miracle Grow, your spray fertilizer, okay? The NPK of this mixture is 22-15-1. The NPK of Miracle Grow for vegetables is 18-18-21. Ain't the same, okay? But it's high in nitrogen, it's high in phosphorus. That's what you're looking at. So just mix it up and go. All right, so that's your high phosphorus one. Let me get you back and we'll do number 5. All right, last one here is a high potassium fertilizer. Also turns out to be high calcium. So this one is going to be really good for your tomatoes, your peppers, that sort of stuff. So what we're going to use for this one is, again, coffee grounds. This time we're using fermented banana peels. Same thing with like the potato peels, okay? Cut them up into pieces. You can see how like inch square pieces. Let them soak in water for about 3 days. Make yourself a banana tea. And again, we're urine. So, and there goes that. All that liquid and those banana peels. I can get them out of here. There we go. And dump in some coffee grounds. And off to the races we go. And that's it. Now, store them. You're going to need to make a bunch, okay? Because like I said, you're going to need to use this all year, and you're not going to be able to get leaves for the one. Eggshells take a while. Banana peels take a while. So you can make this and you can store it over the winter. When you're using the liquids here, you're going to dilute them at about 5 to 1, okay? So get your sprinkling can or whatever it is, and, you know, if you got a 2-gallon sprinkling can, you're going to put, you know, a quarter of a gallon. So what, 16 ounces? Yeah, I think it's whatever a quarter of a gallon is. Okay. So, you know, but a 5 to 1 ratio water to what you got here. But there's 5 different ways to start making fertilizer for your garden, and none of them are going to cost you any money, and they will make your garden very happy. So there's your one that you've been asking for. Have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.